I wanted to talk a little bit about talk a little bit about how to protect your cards. I get people asking me, "How do you protect your cards?" And so I thought I'd go over a little bit with that because I don't really protect my cards, and I think I've done some videos about that. I'm not big on protecting my cards, and I'm nothing wrong with doing it. I mean, you want to protect them, go ahead, But I have obviously I'm reading a long time, so I have a lot of decks that I don't collect decks either, really. But I obviously, even though I don't collect decks, I have decks that I would say are collectibles. I have a Rider Waite deck from the 70s, never been opened, still shrink wrapped. I have I just have a lot of different decks that I know are collectibles today. And the ones that are, I don't have that deck with me, right? I don't know where it's at. But you figure it's a Rider Waite like this. And it's this has basically never been used either, but it's been open. And so decks like this are for a collectible, for a collector, are valuable, especially if they haven't been open. But for me as a person, I don't really get any value out of it. I get value out of decks that have been used. And so protecting the cards, I never liked protecting them. I like my cards to be seasoned. I like them to be out there. And I have some decks here to show you what I'm talking about. So I usually keep my decks in a blue jean denim pocket like this. This is a pocket that was on a pair of my blue jeans for many years. And when I threw them away, I kept the back pocket and I keep my cards in here. This way, if I'm doing a festival or something like that, I'm outside, it's just an easy thing to keep around and they're protected. And I usually keep them wrapped in a bandana in there. So, and that's how I keep my cards. Wrap them in a bandana and put them in a denim jacket or denim pocket like this. You can tell this is an old one. And that pocket's been part of me for a while. I mean, I've had those jeans warm out. So it's a connection with me because of that. And so to me, that's just a nice way to keep the cards. I'll put a link down below to that YouTube that I show how to make one of these denim pockets for your tarot cards if you want. It's in my channel, but I'll put the link here. It's about 4 years old, so I got to find it, but I'll put it in here. So as far as protecting them, I guess you could say, yeah, I do that because it's a part of me. Put them in the pocket. But when you've been reading for a long time, like I said, I have decks that are collectibles that are probably worth something to a collector. But to me personally, the decks that I have that are not protected, like this deck here, this is a Marseille. And you could just see that the images on these cards they're gone. I can say I literally shuffled the ink off of these cards. That's how long I've had them. And they're just a beat up deck of tarot cards. Even the backs are nothing left to them. And I have a few of these. Surprisingly, I've thrown away more of these than I have. Here's another one. It's a Swiss. Same way. The images are just gone on these cards. And, they're just not there anymore. So backs are the same way. These decks to me are more valuable now that I can look at them and say, okay, than a protected deck. Because this, I can look at and say, as soon as I hold this deck, it brings back what I've done. And I could say, my gosh, it's there's a lot of miles on these cards. This card, the Page of Pentacles, you can't even, he's not even in there anymore. He's just gone. But I know it's the Page of Pentacles. So, and it brings back memories. It brings back things like, say, okay, these decks like this have been rained on in festivals, and drunks have spilled beer on the table while I'm reading, and blowing off the table, and who knows what else, and they've been used a lot. And it just brings back memories. And you could think about, you hold something like this and you think, okay, I remember being 11 o'clock at night, and Linda and I out of the state reading at some festival with maybe a dozen readers for a 4-day festival. And another hour, we're going to go to our motel and have a glass of wine and count our money and talk about the day. The little things like, you just remember going to sleep at night in some hotel or motel, and after 12 hours being at a fair, and just the sounds of the fair are still going on in your head as you're going to sleep. And you go to sleep actually trying to make out the conversations that are going on in your head from the day. I talk about that in Straight Tarot. And then get up in the morning, go to Denny's, have breakfast, and go do it all over again the next day. That's where things like this become. Now I could look back and say that these are more valuable to me, these two decks. And I have a couple, I have more of these. I don't know, probably in the garage and in the basement, or what. They're all over the place. But they're no good to nobody else but me. I made these cards this way by doing readings. And that holds a lot of energy to me. To puts a lot of value in them, to say, this show the miles on them. These are seasoned cards. There's nothing these cards haven't seen where a new deck, they're green. They're perfect shape. There's nothing, they don't have the experience that a deck like this would have. And to me, that's what has value. Is I can look at this deck and say, geez, I did this to this deck. And so protecting the cards, I don't think you get any more value out of the card. And if you do have a deck 20 years from now or something, you go in your drawer and you find an old deck like this, and you see it's all worn out, and you look at it and say, my gosh, I did this to this deck. And I remember the things we went through with these cards, and the festivals we were doing, and the good days, the bad days, and that time in my life, and that has value. And to me, these cards are a lot more powerful than a brand new deck. And I really don't put any value or power into the cards anyway. But I do have to admit that when I got a deck like this in my hand, I feel like there's nothing going to rattle my cage with this deck. So protect your cards if you like. You could put oil. We used to put oil. I used to put oil on my cards. Sandalwood. Just sandalwood oil. Just take it between your fingers and rub each card. And maybe get like 4 cards rubbed with one, with the oil on your fingers, and you put some more oil on. You rub another 4 cards like that with it. And you just do the whole deck, like 4 cards at a time. Put some more oil on your fingers, do it again. And just go around the card with it. And that gives them a nice scent. And that's another thing I've done with my cards. I don't like people touching my cards. But if they did, I wouldn't think that they ruined the deck or anything like that. I wouldn't, I just prefer them not to bother touching them. I mean, I haven't cut my cards, but I don't have them shuffled. And that's just my own preference, not just the way I like to do it. But if they did shuffle them, I don't think it would ruin the deck. I don't keep them in a special place. There's sources that'll tell you always wash your hands before you use the cards. They should be kept in a separate, a sacred little place or a box or some type of protection to keep energy off of your cards. I'm the other way around. I like to put as much energy on these cards as I can get, because the more energy they have, the more experience, like I say, that deck is. And nothing's going to rattle the cage of this deck. Where a new deck is like a green deck to me. And that's the way I like to look at it. If you want to protect your cards, there's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and do it. I do like this, like I said, I keep mine in an old blue jean denim back pocket from a pair of my pants. And I keep the waist part, and you just tuck it in like this, and your cards are in there. So you don't even have to wrap them in a bandana. Just put the cards in there like this, and then you just take the flap and just tuck it over. And that's what I do. And that's about all I really do with it. I don't do anything more than that. So anyway, protect them if you want to. Do I feel that they're going to get any better or be stronger because they're protected? I don't think so. And I think I'm proof of that, because my cards work just fine. The older they are, the more I like them. The more beat up they become, the more battle scars they get on them, the better I like them. The more closer I feel to that deck. So you're not damaging the deck. They work just fine like this, or they work just fine as a brand new deck. But I do feel more closer to a deck that I've used for a long time. February 8th is our next Zoom meeting. And all are welcome. Go to tarotmaps.com, click on the Tarot Gatherings in the menu, and come on by, say hi. Keep throwing cards. We'll talk soon.